Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of World Wrestling Sit Down presented by Middle Kingdom Wrestling. I am the professional Sean Lathrop, and joining me at this time is the champion of Malaysian Pro Wrestling, Shaukat. Shaukat, how you doing, my man?
Thanks for having me.
You know, this is one of the big reasons we wanted to do this program was to really emphasize a lot of parts of the world that people may not know a lot about professional wrestling. Of course, China's become a little more known because guys like Ho Ho, Tian Bing, and Jason Lee. Singapore coming in bigger name because of guys like Andrew Tang and the Eurasian Dragon. But Malaysia, some people don't even know where Malaysia is on the map. So what is Malaysia like for professional wrestling right now? And looking at some of the matches as well as some of the things you've been able to really be lucky with, one of the guys I was a big fan of in the TNA days, Sanjay Dutt, you were able to have some interactions with him. How fortunate was it to really bring a guy like Dutt over to MyPW or really that area in wrestling in general?
Well, Sanjay that was actually brought down by WCA, which is Wrestling City Asia, and I was on that card as well. I was one of the co-main events, defending my World Regional Championship, and being on the same card as people like Sanjay Dutt, it was such a great honor. He was very down to earth, very humble, very easy to talk to. So yeah, I mean, Sanjay Dutt probably could be one of the first few big names here in Malaysia, but I really hope that I will be able to bring down bigger names soon.
Any ideas of some names you personally would love to have to come on in?
Right. We don't have many specific names as of now, but we are actually in negotiations with some names. It's just that we can't really mention names now, probably when it's about 80% locked, and then we would most probably announce them on our Facebook page.
Well, how about like the dream scenario type name? Like if you had unlimited money, who would you definitely want to try and come in?
Oh, I would really, really love to have Cody Rhodes. He is like one of
Oh,
the hottest indie wrestlers now in the market. Cody Rhodes, Alberto Alpatron, sorry, and Kenny Omega, definitely, if I have the money.
definitely a good group of names there, and they're all kind of in that technical style in a sense, but also guys that are great showmen. And in a sense, you could really say the same thing about yourself. You kind of push in the entire kung fu esque style while also being a huge crowd favorite over there at MyPW. Uh, what really made you really go into that aspect of the martial artist professional wrestler?
All right. First of all, I noticed that there's not much martial arts wrestler left in professional wrestling. I mean, besides Tajiri and probably Matt Riddle, Kyle O'Reilly, there's not much martial artists in the pro wrestling industry. So that's one. I mean, we have to showcase our talents. I believe that martial arts is a lost, it's a lost kind of form in pro wrestling because there's not much guys doing it now. And secondly, is that because before I delved into pro wrestling, I was actually a professional Muay Thai fighter here in Malaysia.
Oh,
So I just thought, yeah, I just thought I could bring in some Muay Thai and some Silat into pro wrestling.
I mean, since you're a former, I guess still current Muay Thai fighter, considering you still practice, what made you go into professional wrestling then, say, taking Muay Thai more seriously or going into MMA?
Right. I was actually quite a successful Muay Thai fighter back then. My record was quite good. I was one of the top names in my country, but unfortunately, at age 20, when I was 20 years old, I suffered from serious nerve damage, facial
Oh.
nerve damage. So I was basically forced to retire when I was 20. So yeah.
Well, I mean, in a sense, I'd want to say that sucks, but clearly, as a professional wrestler, you definitely picked up in a way that Muay Thai left off. And honestly, your body of work, from what I've seen so far, has been absolutely phenomenal. Tell me, what really made you, I guess, tick? What makes you want to try and get even better as a professional wrestler?
It's the fact that it's a growing spot here in Malaysia is that people don't really believe that there could be good wrestlers produced from my own country. It's very sad actually because the fact that we have more supporters from outside of Malaysia because I have more fans in Singapore, in Philippines, in Thailand, and even in the United States. I mean, I got guys like who are really wanting to see me debut in bigger promotions and such things like that. But our own local supporters here, I mean, it's very sad to say that they don't really believe in their own homegrown talents. I would really love it that if they could support us a little bit more, because as of now, I mean, my PW is doing very, very great. We have been viral lately with a lot of videos and a lot of content, and when we get viral, it's basically the attention is on us. So
Mm.
when there's a lot of attention on us, there'll be a lot more people who have the eyeballs on us. So this some of these fans basically they feel that Malaysia cannot produce great pro wrestlers. So I'm just out there trying to prove to them that hey, your own local guy could go out there and be one of the good ones.
In that sense, with MyPW, you were saying you guys are going viral, and a lot of people outside of Malaysia really are taking more of a hold of it than actually Malaysia itself. Uh, for people who aren't familiar with MyPW, what would be their first match for them to watch if they're going to start binge watching MyPW matches? What would you recommend?
I almost highly recommend the match from my PW Resistance where I was in a tag team match with Dick Togo against the GST, which is known as the greatest Singapore team.
The greatest Singapore team versus you and Dick Togo. See,
Yep, correct.
See, Togo, he's actually a name that's even stateside has been heard of a decent amount. Uh, how how did you really work with that kind of situation? Since you, from what I've seen, you're not really much of a tag team wrestler per se. I mean, you are currently the MyPW champion right now, for example. Is there really more of a preference you have to work in the singles competition?
Because all right, so basically when the match was set, Togo was looking for an experienced partner in Malaysia. He was looking for someone who is easy to work with and someone who would benefit from getting a rub from his experience. So basically, I was selected by Togo-san, and it is my great honor to actually be his tag team partner.
I mean, you had to have had like a fangirl moment when that happened, right?
Most definitely. I mean, when we won a match and just at the center of the ring, the referee raised our hands up high and then he turned around and gave me a hug and he told me that you did good. So when I hear those words coming from a legend like Togo-san, it was an absolute amazing moment.
And this one, because I noticed it's kind of recent with you, and I'm a tattoo enthusiast. You recently just got some new ink done on your left bicep and arm. What really inspired you to get that new tattoo?
It's not actually permanent tattoo. It's actually
Oh,
henna tattoo. But I'm a huge fan of tattoos, to be honest. It's just that I'm a little bit too fussy and I always change my mind. So I think getting something permanent would actually it's not suitable for me. So I opt for henna tattoos instead. But this is the thing. I mean, I just love tattoos. So I try to tell a story with my henna tattoos during matches. Like for example, the one you saw on my page.
yeah.
Basically, it is a quarter of a dragon's tail. So as soon as each show, I would try to progress the henna tattoo from just the tail, growing to the body, growing to the limbs, and then finally the head. So it's like a full evolution of my character.
So kind of like the full evolution of the dragon as well. I dig that. That's really cool. I like that. What made
Thank
you
you.
come up with that?
Basically, because my character is always known to be as the vanilla baby face. So,
Mm.
for example, people will compare me to John Cena. He's very vanilla. He's very in your face kind of face. So when as my character developed, I slowly started to delve into the dark side a bit. Not dark side as in like the Undertaker dark side, but the dark side of my character's personality, where he gets very pissed off easily, he snaps easily. So the dragon is actually a symbol of my character from being a calm and relaxed person to a more fierce fighter.
And definitely showing that. I mean, even just in this little talk we're having here, you sound just very chill, to be more exact. Like, almost as if nothing could really bother you. And maybe even your temper itself isn't really that high. But am I getting that incorrectly from this talk?
That is spot on
All
because
right.
to be honest, the fans here who knows me personally, they know that I'm a very chilled and laid back person. I mean, and my patience is very high.
Well, I'm going to end this off with one more question for you. And this isn't
All right,
necessarily you wanting to come to my PW. This is you yourself, dream opponent, whether it's living or dead. Who would you want to face?
all right. I have. Can I give you two answers for this?
You can give me 12 answers if you want, man. It's fine.
All right. So I first started watching professional wrestling because of The Undertaker.
Mm.
The first time I watched pro wrestling was when I was 4 years old. I remembered the match clearly. It was The Undertaker versus Kamala in a casket match. I was 4 years old, but I fell in love with the characters in the ring, especially The Undertaker. I mean, he is the main reason why I continued watching on back then WWF all the way till now. I mean, I haven't stopped watching pro wrestling. And if I could choose someone that I would really love to have a match with, it would be The Undertaker. But realistically, I mean, it's a bit of a far fetch, but one can only dream, right?
Right. I
Yeah,
mean, you.
so this I've got some other few names on my head at the top of my head right now. I would really love to face Shinsuke Nakamura because of our
Mm.
similar style. I mean, he is supposedly the king of strong style. So and me being a former professional Muay Thai fighter, and I'm the type of guy who would love to get hit. So basically, I could absorb as much damage as possible, just as much as I could give out damage. So I can imagine having a very great match with Shinsuke Nakamura.
So even that like Japanese strong style, getting punched in the face and keep going, you would love to really be more a part of that.
Yep, I would definitely love those kind of matches. But as of right now, I actually have my eyes on Akira Tozawa. I've been following him in his indie career. I love his work, and recently he just debuted in the WWE 205. I love his wrestling. I mean, he is a small guy. I mean, he is, I think, about 2 inches shorter than I am, but his skills and technique and athleticism is amazing. So I
Mm.
would really love to face Akira Tozawa one day.
Definitely Tozawa's an amazing story too. I mean, I remember seeing some of the photos of his when he first debuted to now. The man has changed so much since he's really gotten to this point in professional wrestling since then.
Exactly.
Of course, you said Undertaker. I gotta ask this because you're an Undertaker fan. That's the guy that inspired you to go into professional wrestling.
hmm
Do you feel sad if he retires, and do you think he should retire?
that is an absolutely difficult question to answer because I'm actually quite I'm in a dilemma when people ask me this question because I would really love to see 10 more years of The Undertaker, but to be honest, I mean, seeing him wrestling right now is it's quite I get worried all the time seeing him in the ring. Every time when he gets into the ring, you can just see that he's just not in his prime anymore, and it comes to the point where you are worried of his health and his safety and whether he survives the matches or not. Because like previously when he had the match with Brock Lesnar, the
Yeah.
night where the streak was broken, we heard news of him collapsing backstage and things like that. So it's very, very worrying. Like I said, I would love to see the Undertaker wrestle for another 10 years, but realistically, um, I feel that he should he should hang the boots.
Yeah. Maybe after it's one match with you first, though, right?
We can only hope.
Well, thank you for being part of the show, Shaukat. Sh- Shaukat.
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 Yes, no
Okay.
problem. It's an honor for you to give me a call.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure talking with you.
Yeah. If anytime you want to be back in the show sometime in the future, man, it'd be absolutely great. Because I know you're really busy right now, so you can go ahead and take care of yourself now, man.
Thank you so much.
That was World Wrestling Sit Down here, presented by Middle Kingdom Wrestling. We'll be getting more interviews coming to you real soon. In the meantime, the man who sleeps on the floor can't possibly fall out of bed.